Hey guys, doing today? Happen to have a game against Crosspiece, and I think this is another guy that's been hanging around my stream a little while as well. Basically got a lot of the regulars, going to be playing a lot of the regulars. One thing I did notice about Crosspiece's team that's pretty funny is he actually only has one 7th gen Pokemon in there. And the thing about my team is it has one non-7th gen Pokemon on there. Mine happens to be Sharpedo, and that one's actually Mega Sharpedo, but the main reason I have it is because I bred down Psychic Fangs onto it. So I was like, I kind of want to try that, you know, with Dual Stab and Psychic Fang, see what it does for fighting types, and it turns out he doesn't have a fighting type on his team, so I actually didn't get much usage out of that move, I'll tell you that much right now. And then Eviolite Type Null is a crazy bulky thing, so I'm not excited to fight that, but you know, I got some stuff, he's got some stuff. And then he's also got, you know, the other Water Dark Mega, which happens to Mega Gyarados, which I think is a little bit better right now. Anyway, Mega Gyarados just puts in a lot of work. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Speaking of Gyarados, he's going to go ahead and lead off with it. I'm going to go ahead and lead off with my Kamala. And I think this is an Assault Vest set that I decided to bring. But the thing about this Assault Vest set is, if I'm remembering correctly, I actually didn't put Woodhammer on it. Really wanted to go for Woodhammer, predicting the Mega, despite the fact that I'm -1. It would have still done a good chunk because he lost his flying typing. But I think he actually thought I was going to be a bulkier set with like Toxic or maybe T-Wave or some stuff. So he opted to go for Taunt. I'm actually perfectly okay with that because I have no non-attacking moves on this set whatsoever, being an Assault Vest user, so it works out great for me. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of there, do a nice chunk to him, and then I believe I pivot into my Shiinotic here. And I had completely not known about Strength Sap, the attack. I hadn't looked into it when it was leveling it up, so during this game I actually didn't have it, and you're probably like, you fucking idiot. And it's like, you know what? I didn't have enough time to research because I was like, okay, you know what? I mistook it for Strength Swap, which is literally only like one character off, and I was like, okay, well, that seems kind of pointless, but Strength Sap is really cool. So I immediately swapped out whatever I had on there. I put it on the set, basically, somewhere is what I'm saying. But I don't like the fact that Talonflame's in here on the Giga Drain, so I'm going to go ahead and go out to Necrozma because I figure I can take a hit, I guess, kind of decently. This thing's got pretty interesting bulk. I don't remember exactly what it is off the top of my head, but at the time I thought I could switch into Talonflame just fine, and it turns out it kind of can, but it doesn't like Weavile at all. So I'm actually going to go ahead and pivot out into my Magearna. Or switch out, not pivot out. Well, I guess kind of, sort of. But I resisted Dual Stab, which is really nice. So if I wanted to set up on this thing, I could. But I can't really go for Fluor Cannons when Talonflame's around. So I'm actually going to use this opportunity to double into my Sharpedo. Because after I get a Protect off, and thanks to the fact that the Talonflame's Gale Wings is broken, it can't Brave Bird me as a Sharpedo, so I feel pretty good about going for Protect ones. It's not going to be a Choice Scarf one or anything weird like that, and Adamant +1 will outspeed the Talonflame, absolutely. And turns out he just ends up going for a U-turn anyway to try to get some damage off. I'm not going for game with this thing at this point. I'm just going for getting rid of Talonflame, which is, you know, going to make my options with Magearna a lot better. I don't have to worry about getting Flare Blitz. I can Floor Cannon pretty freely without having to worry about whether or not this thing is going to take it really well if it's special defensive or anything like that. But I don't remember if the special defensive ones run U-turn. I don't think they do. I think that one might have just, you know, honestly been... I don't know. It didn't appear to be Life Orb. I forgot where it took that. Oh, that was the Giga Drain damage. That's right. So... anyways, going back to what's on the field currently, I thought this thing was going to be, you know, a bulky support set, and it was going to have, like, T-Wave and Roar and stuff like that. And turns out he's actually just bulky Swords Dance, so I was like, welp, I can't keep Vikavolt in here, that is definitely a bad idea. So I decided to go into what I thought was going to be, you know, my physically defensive Pokemon, and oh my god, this thing just straight up dies. So don't underestimate Type Null at all. The fact that it has 95 and everything, gets access to Swords Dance, and it also gets access to Parting Shot, a lot of other cool stuff too. It's got a lot of potential for what it can do as a defensive Pokemon, thanks to the fact that it's got such good stats, and it evolves, and the only thing that changes about it is its speed, meaning that all those 95s floating around the board are great with Eviolite. So he's going to go for Protect, I guess, just to see what I'm going to do. I opt to go for an Aura Sphere because I want to see how much it's going to do. And then I believe on this turn I ended up going for I think I ended up going for another Aura Sphere, if I'm not mistaken. I had no reason to Floor Cannon right off the bat, nor was that really a safe turn to Shift Gear because I think he runs Shadow Claw for coverage, and that would have hurt that would have hurt a pretty substantial amount too. So anyway, Garchomp comes in. He's not going to go for an Outrage. He has no reason to. So I'm going to use the idea that he would be crazy to go for Outrage and, you know, kind of go with the safe option. That he's going to go for Earthquake to go into my Vikavolt. And this is a really good opportunity to potentially Volt Switch, because if he switches up his moves, I learned that he's not Scarfed. I can use that to my advantage later, or he's not choiced at least. But if he does switch, he's definitely choiced, because you're pretty capable of taking out a Vikavolt from there. But I get the Volt Switch on his switch to Weavile, and I'm actually really glad I did not take it out, because this thing is going to be the perfect setup fodder for Magearna. So he's going to go ahead and fake out. Really not going to do much at all, but I forgot if I mentioned it in a previous take or not, but this is actually a Shift Gear Magearna, and provided he doesn't flinch me with Icicle Crash, I'm going to get to go for that. And Shift Gear, I believe, is +2 speed, +1 attack. The attack's irrelevant. You just really want, you know, your double speed, which is pretty cool. And I really like the animation. I really like that Shift Gear is getting some play on this thing, because usually I just see like a bulky spec set, or like an Assault Vest set. I've even seen a slow Life Orb set as well. But I have a Assault Vest one, and I have a Shift Gear Life Orb one, which is this one. I was like, you know what? I really want to try it, and it seems pretty cool on paper, and it actually didn't do too bad in this game either. So I get to go for an Aura Sphere on the Weavile, just to go ahead and get my Soul Heart going. And the Garchomp is going to come in now as well, but the cool part is after I'm able to knock it out with a Fluor Cannon, the special attack drop from Fluor Cannon combined with the special attack raise I get from Soul Heart for knocking it out are actually going to put me at even for special attack, which is still not a bad position to be in, because my special attack stat is a pretty respectable number. I can't remember off the top of my head, but if I'm doing this, it really can't be half bad out of 10, you know? So this thing's going to come in, and this thing actually takes a crazy amount. I think he was waiting for me. I think he brought in Garchomp actually to burn off my special attack boost, because if you look at how much just a stock Aura Sphere does to this thing, it's crazy. Like, it barely does half from there, and that's just, you know, it's neutral special attack, all that stuff. He's able to knock me out with a Shadow Claw, which, again, I thought was fine initially. Turns out that I don't really have a lot to hit it that hard with, and I go into this thing because I'm assuming that I'm going to be a little bit faster. I'm going to be able to go for, I'm going to get my late game rocks. I assume that was going to help with Gyarados, and we actually are like over halfway through this video and I'm getting rocks. What the heck is wrong with me there? Anyways, he goes for Shadow Claw, thanks to his filter-like ability. I forget what the actual ability is. I think it's like Prism Guard or some weird shit like that. Anyways, it acts like filter is all you really need to know. But he's going to be able to knock me out with a Shadow Claw and a Return combination, and that's just fine from there, I guess. So now that I've done a good amount of damage to it, I believe I end up going for I think I go for a Return on this one, and Kamala actually... No, he goes for Protect, and then I believe I go for Return. But all I've seen is that he has Protect, SD, Return, and Shadow Claw. Pretty interesting set. Not sure what the Protect is necessarily on there for in terms of what kind of utility, because you're not really... you're not gaining any leftovers or anything like that. You're not, you know, stalling for speed boost or anything weird like that. But it seems to have worked out. I guess it's mainly just for scouting. So Porygon Z is going to come in. This thing is really scary on paper, but being an Assault Vest Kamala at full HP, I'm pretty sure I should be able to take at least one hit from it and then respond accordingly with what he's going to end up going for. I think I might have gone for a U-turn in the first place on the off chance his Z conversion ended up being Ghost, and then my Return would not have done, you know, any damage whatsoever. So I'm going to go ahead and get the pivot after he gets the Z conversion. As you can see, my U-turn really does not do anything whatsoever. But the other thing I still have at full HP that is actually a new resistance to his new typing is going to be my Vikavolt, and then a +1 Porygon Z that did not, you know, it doesn't have a download or anything like that. The Shadow Ball hurts pretty bad, but this is a Specs Vikavolt. And the Porygon Z, if it was at full, I kind of think that it might have been able to take it, but thanks to, you know, the U-turn damage and I guess the rocks damage somewhere in there too, I think that got me in a pretty comfortable range where I felt okay with doing that. So Now that I've taken, you know, a bunch of damage from Shadow Ball, I actually just want to go ahead and try to attack this thing, but it is his last one, so I feel pretty good about the fact that he's just going to take me out on that. And I mean, hey, it stopped the Porygon Z from sweeping me, so I might as well. And I know how scary these two things are firsthand, seeing as how I got through the Battle Tree Super Singles with a Mega Gyarados and a Porygon Z and that Trevenant from the last video, so those three combined can be really freaking terrifying. He's going to end up going for a Dragon Dance as I end up bringing in my Kamala. And, you know, now that he's dark, I'm just going to go ahead and go for a U-turn, see how much it does. I ultimately want to bring in my my Sharpedo here. Because after I bring it in, I can Mega, and then I can resist his dual stabs. But me being at more HP than he's at, I just have to live a Waterfall or a Crunch. And, I mean, this thing is not bulky. This thing is not definite. Sharpedo has never been known to be a bulky Pokemon, but the Mega, as it stands, does give me a little bit of extra bulk where I'm thinking I might be able to live a Waterfall or a Crunch. At +1, I don't know, but like I said, I just needed to take the hit, and turns out he ended up going for Taunt. Not sure what that was for. I think he could have just as easily gone for an attack, because my Protect would have gone for Taunt, but the game was, you know, almost over at that point. I still had Kamala as well. I'm not sure how I would have pulled it out from there. But I was feeling pretty good about the end. So that's how it wrapped up. So hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you can leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe, do your thing. I'm all out of games right now, so I gotta get to recording some other stuff. I'm also talking to some people about some overlays and some new channel branding and stuff like that. So getting back into it is pretty exciting. Hope you guys are enjoying the new quality I have going on. Super nice, you know, super awesome to actually have around too. And I think that should do it out of me, so I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.